Folks, well, this is Miguel from the Embargo Man channel. Okay, so okay, when I have seen this, you know, after all, 2024, how it started, when it started in the wrong foot, right? I have made videos to encourage the Japanese to make airplanes, to make commercial airplanes, and look what happened. This is what happened in 2024, and I have seen just a video talking about the Boeing 737 Max and all, and what I am saying. I feel sorry for the people over there in the dash plane. You know, the Japan Coast Guard. But I have to tell you all this history. I'm gonna tell you from the history of the aviation industry. We're going. That's where we're going, and we're going. Why does Japan need to make commercial airplanes, and why they need to prevent all this, and tragically, most basically, I'm gonna encourage you, anybody that this would be incident. I'm in Fusagasugá, Colombia, chilling with my dad and stuff. And I've come to make this video just to make sure, you know. I mean, in this country, you have some president that I believe if a Max crash, I mean, it would be totally in a whole different video in another section that there's going to be basically President Petro favoring a Comac plane over a 737 Max and probably even ban Boeing products because of unsafety reasons. Oh yeah, right. So this goes for another topic in another video, but now let's focus on what is the incident and why has happened. First of all, I have never believed, even though sorry for all the nonsense it is, but sometimes some of this nonsense come out to be true. I just came here visit my dad for the holidays. I would say thank God for the people in Mobile, Alabama, where I got the plane that I rode. Yes, an A320. And I came from Miami to Bogota safe and sound. All right? The last time I rode a 737 Max, I came safe and sound from Quito, Ecuador to Miami, Florida, vacationing with my mom and um my my stepdad, you know. So let's get in with the program, and now let's talk about the situations, the low birth rate, and all this, because I think it's gonna be everything within cultures. I mean, I don't mind. Each country needs a migrant from people from different countries to help out and even to fill up the gap of people within the same ethnicity or race to keep the population going, even though they're born outside the country. Their origins or ancestors or where their blood is from more focus in what is the definition of Western culture, especially Latin culture versus the Japanese culture, right? So I always wanted to go there, and for that moment now, you see the population of decline, not enough people, not enough babies, very low birth rate. I encourage you to get a little busy, and what is I'm going to say of all this, Sometimes when people party, then sometimes they come out drinking and all that stuff. They get drunk, they get hammered and all that stuff, and then they get behind the wheel of a car or behind the cockpit, all drunk and everything like that. And then okay, this behind the wheel of a car when you're driving and drunk and stuff, they get like all drunk and all stuff. You hit somebody, but behind the cockpit and being drunk. Now this has happened. I mean, people during the New Year's party and this. Let me tell you, and holiday party. Let me tell you this, okay? Most likely, there's a lot of people of Japanese descent living in Latin America. I'm not gonna say all of that to blame all that, but sometimes they need to leave their drinking customaries behind, their drinking customs behind, and try to stay in the cockpit sober. All right, so not just the driving. Driving works. If somebody's drunk, if people, doesn't matter where you're from, or if you live outside your own country, if you live within a culture where everything has to be exactly perfect, a good job well done. You drive a cab. If you want to get all drunk, just don't go to work. Stay at home. You go after party. You've been drunk. Call a cab. Call a sharing ride service. Could be an Uber, and you avoid accidents. If you're a pilot, stay at home, chill until you already have been chilled out, you've already been sober, and just go ahead. If you're sober, go ahead, go behind the cockpit, fly the plane safely. This is just a result of all things. Somebody behind the cockpit, all right, somebody might not even born in Japan, but is of Japanese descent. Could be from Peru, could be from Brazil. I'm not gonna just point the finger, but just whoever that person is, the person is thinking is living in the country that the person's born, living within his ancestral country. All right, so the country of his ancestors. All right, so the thing is that there was an earthquake and a natural disasters over there in Japan, right? So the guy just got behind the cockpit of the Dash 8 plane, crashed in front of an Airbus A350. And when I saw this, and when I saw the video in Inside Edition, I'm just going to say how it is. It's because of the result of the people, lack of people, very low population rate, very low birth rate. Japan has opened the doors to foreigners, even to foreigners of Japanese descent that are born in other countries, right? So they come in, they become citizens, but because their ancestors are from Japan and stuff, but then they don't follow the rules, what they need to have left behind, how they're gonna party in Peru, or how they're gonna party in Brazil, and focus within the Japanese norms and cultures that people need to do. Or yes, stay behind the drunken days in the USA if it's a Japanese American who wanted to just drink. Okay, this is because I feel sorry for the family members who are somewhere in his country of origin coming for his ancestral country, not leaving behind the partying and the drinking and having a good time and costing his lives and the life of his crew members just to save lives. Just to save the lives of people in the earthquake. But that is one way to say that, don't, if you're drunk, don't go behind the cockpit, right? So the plane catches on fire, looks like a fireball, all right? But the main thing of the professionalism that the Japanese crew at Japan Airlines, JAL, has got out safety, 360 plus people, 365 people out of getting out safely out of that Airbus A350, right? So nothing happened to them. I felt sorry for the crew. And if it's not about human error, if it's not going drunk behind the cockpit, well, just to mention that I have seen videos, that I've seen videos of it. This is just history going on, that Honda made a Honda jet, and then this time, if this Dash 8 that is built in Canada, not in the US, were to have its flaws, then they were switching for a Honda jet or Mitsubishi. If they could do that as a replacement, that means that the Japanese are using their products made in their own country, just like Toyota cars, Honda, and whatever other products from Japan. I'm just very satisfied that I owned a Sony TV that has been good for years. All right, for almost 10 years. TV keep on running. The Japanese make great products. Just put a tap on that. Just put an applause on that. Thank you for the Japanese for making great products for all over the years. But this is where I could say that this is where, if Western companies making flaws, all right, China already have their Comac. The Comac C919. It needs some time for the FAA to approve that it's safe to fly within the United States, or EASA, where it's safe to fly in Europe, like France, Germany, the Netherlands, around there. So yeah, that these types of approval, that what is with the Comac C919 needs to be approved to be safe to fly in America and Europe and other countries, right? So that's where it goes, and where I'm gonna say this, that when it comes to history of the aviation industry, it all started during World War II. Going a damn war, all right? The U.S. and Japan at war. What kind of planes? Those same airplanes were the ones that went and attacked Pearl Harbor. Mitsubishi, probably Kawasaki planes or something. Those planes came there and attacked Pearl Harbor, right? The Mitsubishi M6 or and all these planes, right? They have been Axis powers enemy pilots, but these planes ran good. These are the only planes that the only way that they crash is during World War II. Kamikaze pilots, they're gonna go ahead in the cockpit, they're gonna crash somewhere in the wall or something like that. Just because they screw up, they die honorably. Those are just the kamikazes, right? But after all, those planes are really good planes. You could go to a museum in Japan and you see those type of World War II planes, all right? This is just history. And then this is, and especially Mitsubishi, that have made these propeller planes, and they are in certain museums in some parts of the world, right? Probably you could go to Hawaii, Pearl Harbor, and see those old World War II Japanese airplanes. That's how the history goes on. But then after all, this is just a great start to do there. But they have never made a commercial airplane to compete with the likes of Boeing and Airbus. Why? And let me tell you the reason. Okay? It is like, I believe, and I have, within faith in God, I have faith that the Japanese could make a very superior product as what they did with automobiles, electronics, and all the other products with the Japanese put in touch, including the motorcycles. You have your you have your Kawasaki Ninjas and all that stuff, right? So after all, with all this that they succeeded in every other category, the only thing they didn't succeed is in the aviation industry, that is left behind with just renovations of American F fighters, just a Japanese versions of American F fighters and stuff, of American fighter jets that the Japanese use within their own name, is all have been left behind with that. And that's where it goes. That's where it goes until there was a project, until Honda came in and made a Honda jet. I mean, Honda is a big company. They're getting into the airplane biz, and they have the first Honda jet being, assembled in the U.S. and then they sent to Japan, and that was a great success for Honda. Winter Honda jets. They're making private jets for now, and probably they might make even jets for, people for the Japan Coast Guard, that I hope that is going to be replaced if it's a Dash 8 flaw. Mitsubishi, on the other hand, have made a space jet. The space jet is very successful, and I could tell you this. It has been in projects on the works and everything, and then I see the plane. It was first called the MRJ project, but I believe that it could go farther beyond a Bombardier, beyond the Ember from Brazil, a neighboring country from here. But that is all, have to put the pieces together, that the aviation industry, that Japan needs to wake up, all the Japanese companies, including Toyota. All right. So I've seen the documentary after I've seen the documentary of Showdown, or of the Boeing 737 Max, going flaws and stuff, and of downfall, is that I have seen that when I heard when people try to test all this plane, even something in the DW channel about fatal flight. All right, so but talking about the downfall is that Boeing were to not focus in the plane with their flaws and all that stuff. And this is where I could see that this is where people are suing Boeing for making a faulty plane. So that is the faulty Boeing 737 Max that I believe is still flying now, but I mean that this could happen to any incident. This is just one thing that when a company becomes very big, I know that Boeing absorbed McDonnell Douglas and then the business side, and then this is when they fill the BS with the truth. It's always competitor. It's always is that this is gonna happen with the American aviation industry. And this is just something that, I mean, human error. It's just like what happened with the 787 with the battery busted and all that stuff. That all it is that I could understand where this is going. Where this is going is that if Boeing don't keep their act up, then I believe that this is where it goes. Thank God that this crash wasn't even involved with a Boeing. All right, it doesn't even involve with a Boeing plane. So that's what it is, and people crashed, and they just the people from Lion Air that they died, that they have their family members and friends died in that plane. People from the Ethiopia Airlines died in that plane, and from 2018 to 2019, those 2 tragic years. Just imagine Akio Toyota, all right? Akio Toyota. I mean that your parents, your great grandparents have started the Toyota company making sewing machines. That's one thing of a great history of Toyota. But now, just put yourself in Akio Toyota. If your son were to been riding in one of those airplanes, the Lion Air flight and or the Ethiopian Airlines flight, and crash, I bet you will do something to make an airplane that is made by Toyota, that it could meet to the highest safety standards, that even say that that Toyota might even put a factory in Australia to make Toyota airplanes. All right, so that's how I bet that this is going to be it, and it's going to be any moment now that the Toyota family, that one of the family members would be riding in a 737 Max, and the fault of all this is the MCAS. The MCAS is a program to maneuver the plane and everything. The engines are bigger and whatever. It is a design flaw, all right? So I bet with all this that I noticed from Downfall, and from the video that I see from the DW YouTube channel, I was just saying this is something that have need of focus, and if it would be awesome for a third company from Japan to make airplanes, all right? It would be the case of all this is that I believe that this is going to be put in a way, let's put basketball terms. In basketball terms, this is going to be the NBA of the 1990s. The Japanese manufacturer is the Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan, 6 championships, where nobody have beat the Chicago Bulls. That's how is going to be how the Japanese manufacturer that made airplanes is going to be viewed. You know, superb quality in all that stuff. This is why the Japanese are dedicated to make less of a flaws, because they're dedicated to what they do. All right. So this is the bright point of the Japanese industry. That's how they be how their auto companies have been successful, how their motorcycle companies, how their even electronic companies have been successful. The same thing happened with the airplane companies. The same thing will be like Mitsubishi, Honda, or probably even Toyota. make their own planes to compete with Boeing and Airbus, and might be ending up because, let me tell you seriously, I just defend the American industry. I'll feel so sorry that Americans could lose jobs in the aviation industry if Boeing gets out of business and begins with their flaws, and Americans will look the jobs at Airbus or the Japanese competitor that took their company that they work for, Boeing, out of business to work for them. All right, it's like this. If you can't beat them, join them. The same thing as Mercedes-Benz from Germany has set a factory in Alabama. Airbus set a factory in Alabama. The same thing as Japanese companies and European companies has set up factories within the United States. That also could even lead to even a Japanese manufacturer even put aviation manufacturing, aviation industry in Australia. That even Qantas, an Australian airliner that is very strict in safety, want the best, the highest safety standards and everything. I believe that Japan delivers it. Well, Boeing might just don't deliver what Qantas needs. All right, so that is just one point of that. I could tell you all of this is that it is time. It is time for the Japanese to make commercial airplanes. Why? This time is now. I can make the topic for another video regarding to a European manufacturer in my next video that you will see right here. But for now on, I could tell you this. I feel condolences for what happened to the Dash 8 crashing against an Airbus A350. But I will tell you what, I'll be thankful to God that the people riding in the Airbus A350 are safe and sound. The Japanese have done a very good job evacuating the people very safely. And that 2024, that I believe that this is the year that what have happened next to Japan, and I'm not saying for a European manufacturer, but I'm saying for Boeing. If something happens in a Boeing plane, especially the 737 MAX, this is the time where Mitsubishi, Honda, or even Toyota focus their strength, focus their mind in manufacturing an airplane to compete against Boeing and Airbus, and also the following, a Chinese manufacturer by the name of Comac, even though not approved by the FAA or other aviation safety industry agencies yet, but approved within China and some countries, to just focus that Japan would be one of the top dogs in the aviation industry. Okay? Folks at Toyota, folks at Honda, folks at Mitsubishi. I could tell you all this if you're watching it from Japan. May God bless the people and all the crew that have done a very good job evacuating, and rest the souls of the people, even if the case would be the Dash 8 had a flaw, or that the pilot was drunk at the cockpit. To rest their souls and the family members of that crew, that one day a Japanese manufacturer could, sky up and we would steer up in the sky, that we will see Japanese commercial airplanes in airports all around the world, used by airlines from all around the world, even American, including American ones, that one of these days, same thing as the people in Mobile, Alabama have a job at Airbus, the same thing will happen to you, fellow Americans, fellow people of the USA, that you will work for a Japanese company making airplanes by the time Boeing goes out of business, and for their own flaws and mistakes, they went out of business and go into the same route as Dutch manufacturer Fokker. Goodbye, everyone, and God bless you. And please subscribe to the Embargo Man's channel. Stay safe.